I was blindsided when my first love dumped me. You deserve someone who can give you more. After 3 months of sweet moments and intimate boundaries, she decided I wasn't the one. Was it my fault for not reading between the lines? Now I'm left with only questions and guilt. I apologize for the lengthy message. Approximately a month and a half ago, my ex abruptly ended our relationship. It was sudden. We were having a nice day on a Monday, texting each other and sharing photos as she seemed happy, and the next morning she coldly informed me that she wanted to talk. In the afternoon, she delivered the news via voice call, breaking up without even considering my feelings. We had been together for about 3.5 months, which I realize is not a long time, but it was my very first relationship, my first experience being attracted to someone, and my first experience with love. Conversely, I was her fourth boyfriend, and she mentioned that none of her previous relationships lasted longer than 6 months. According to her, I was the best partner she had ever had, caring, lovely, understanding, and a good listener. To me, she was a wonderful girl, the best I had ever been with, though that does not say much. We had known each other for a year, having both started working on the same project at the same time as remote developers. We got along well, although I am quite shy and never initiated a friendship with her. We shared some enjoyable moments together at our workplace's Christmas party, where we danced a little, took photos, and I ensured she had transport so she would not have to go alone. I did not think much of it at the time. I could hardly fathom the idea of developing a romantic relationship with someone. Time passed, and in September she left our job. This was difficult for her. I felt a bit sad, but we planned to see each other a month later, which we did. It turned out to be a date. I was surprised. How did that happen? However, nothing significant occurred and we only maintained contact. She began to engage with me more, making me wonder if she was just being nice or if she liked me. I felt something strange. I had feelings for her. A week later, we had a video call, and I finally found the courage to ask if she wanted to meet again, which we did to watch a movie. It was lovely. We had food before watching the film, and after it ended, she kissed me. I was stunned. It felt so special, and then asked me to be her boyfriend, to which I rather foolishly asked if that meant we were officially a couple, and she said yes. That was probably one of the best days of my life. Now that we were official, we got to know each other better through extensive conversations, agreeing on many points, including a desire for a serious, long-term, exclusive relationship. She expressed how she spoke about me to her parents and friends, describing me as nice and indicating that she liked me. I was overwhelmed with embarrassment. I had never expected to hear such words directed at me. By the way, you might assume I have low self-esteem, but that is not the case. I love myself in such things, but I never thought I would experience this. The following week, she invited me to her home after our date. It was a rainy day, and she had planned it ahead of time. She lived with her parents, and I got to meet them. They were friendly and welcoming. It may seem fast, but I did not mind at all, as I also live with my parents. I live a bit far from her, about an hour by bus, or an hour and a half if I need to make additional transfers due to a bad schedule. We had many things in common, and we would chat about numerous topics daily, sometimes just a little, other times for more than an hour. We aimed to have a date once a week, but sometimes it stretched to 3 weeks without seeing each other because she was busy and stressed with her job search. I encouraged her to focus on it. I didn't mind, and it was essential for me that she was doing well. Apologies for the many irrelevant details. I needed to get this off my chest. To the point, the week after my visit to her house, while we were 2 weeks into our relationship, we went to the cinema again, and the heat of the moment took over when we kissed. I asked her if I could touch and caress her, always seeking permission before any actions and checking if she was comfortable. We reached a point where I was gently exploring her chest, then beneath her clothing, touching her skin. Her reactions indicated she was enjoying it. I asked if my hand could go lower, to which she once again agreed, and I softly stimulated her. I was surprised at how wet she was. She was enjoying it until she eventually asked me to stop so we could continue watching the movie. I understood, as we knew we couldn't engage in that for long. Nonetheless, I was pleased that she enjoyed it and seemed happy, until the next day or two when she told me she felt terrible about it. That broke my heart at the moment, but I understood. We were both virgins, by the way. I apologized, reminding her that I had always asked for consent and that the heat of the moment had engulfed us both. I think she acknowledged my point but still felt upset. I expressed my sorrow again and offered her space, stating that I would not bring it up again until she felt better. I felt terrible about this, and I even cried for a while. We did not see each other for the following 2 weeks. I assumed it was a mix of needing space and being busy. Then came her graduation, and she invited me. I brought her a bouquet of tulips and chocolates. She had something small for me too. This occurred at her house, where we had a meal before heading to the ceremony. Afterward, we dined again, this time with her parents, walked around, took photos, and later had dinner with 2 of her female friends whom she introduced to me. Afterwards, we went dancing at a nightclub where we had a great time. She wore a beautiful dress, and while dancing, I asked if I could hold her by the hips, gently touching some skin, not going too far, just enjoying the moment with her consent. She mentioned that she was enjoying it and that it was fun. Then she told me to stop, saying she was not comfortable with it. I inquired why since she had initially agreed and she replied that it was hard for her to say no. I felt awful because I hate causing discomfort to someone unknowingly, so I pleaded with her to be direct with me. I genuinely do not mind if she does not want to engage in any behavior. I just want to ensure she feels safe, which is why I ask for consent. It is not an obligation but rather an attempt to explore together. I apologized repeatedly afterward because she reminded me about it in the following days. I felt miserable while at home, even shedding tears to my mother, though I did not share the details because they were difficult to discuss. She comforted me, encouraging me not to worry about whether things would work out. However, those feelings did not vanish. Things had been going well really, we shared numerous similarities and interests. But to be honest, I wished to spend more time together, and there were instances when she could not due to her schedule. I understood and encouraged her to focus on job hunting and preparing for interviews. I assisted her with English and programming whenever she allowed, for which she expressed gratitude because she always learned a lot. I also recognized some flaws. She was frequently late, sometimes making me wait for 30 minutes or even almost an hour on top of the hour-and-a-half train journey back home. Still, I constantly reassured her that it was not an issue for me as I genuinely did not mind. I have grown accustomed to waiting for various things throughout my life and I am patient. Eventually, our dates became enjoyable again. We revisited the discussion surrounding the incident at the cinema, and she told me she was feeling okay about it now, which delighted me. Then, as our last date approached after 3 weeks without seeing each other and following her somewhat ghosting me after planning video calls to watch a film or play games with me, she claimed it was unconfirmed because she had failed to specify a time. We had a serious discussion about sexuality and intimacy. She shared some positive sentiments, revealing that she had thought about me while touching herself. I admitted similar feelings. I asked if she wanted to explore new experiences, presenting some ideas. She expressed interest in the plans, and I emphasized that there was no pressure for anything and that we would simply let time dictate our actions. She agreed. I genuinely meant it. I have personal needs, but I am in no rush to rush into anything. I consider it a substantial step, one that is essential to me. I also conveyed that I would patiently wait as needed for her to find time for our dates. While discussing this, she mentioned that she found it difficult to express her feelings and did not want to become deeply attached, fearing she might get hurt. I accepted that, as I myself did not want to become too vulnerable, but I loved her so much. I suspected she may have been badly hurt before, as she had alluded to that. Then she got a job. I was so thrilled and proud of her. We had a date planned for Saturday, our last. I brought her some small gifts, chocolates, a purse that I gifted her for Christmas, which I had adjusted because it was too large, and a handwritten letter congratulating her on her new job. I also included a game from Steam for her to relax and enjoy during her well-deserved break from job hunting to celebrate. We chose a nice place outdoors to have a meal where we were alone. We kissed, and as she initiated some passionate moments, I asked again if I could caress her body, her chest and backside. She agreed, and I sensed how much she enjoyed it. It felt truly special. Later, we found a photo booth, but it malfunctioned, leaving us staring into each other's eyes within a confined space. Again, in the heat of the moment, we kissed, and I asked if I could touch her softly and gently. Eventually, I was massaging her chest and backside. I refrained from venturing into more intimate territory, and I asked if I could see her chest. She agreed, and I adored it, even kissing it for a while. And that was it. She enjoyed it. We conversed about it briefly, but then time ran out. I had to wait about an hour for the bus, and the trip home took another hour. That night, we played some games with 4 of her friends, having a fantastic time together, which continued into the next day. Then came the Monday I mentioned at the beginning, one of my worst nightmares. I remember during the video call, I first expressed my hope that nothing bad had happened to her or her family. Fortunately, that was not the case. However, she proceeded to break up with me, delivering the news coldly and emotionlessly. I fell apart. Why did this happen? I cried. She told me I deserved someone better, someone who could go out with me more often, someone who could give me more compliments. She added that she did not want to engage in the activities we shared in the photo booth, neither with me nor with anyone else. That hurt even more. What? I insisted that such actions did not matter to me and that I loved her for who she was, not for those experiences. But she had made her decision without consulting me, insisting that it was indeed important for me. The pain was excruciating. She even offered to reimburse me for the ticket to an event we had planned for Saturday. I declined, suggesting that we could maintain contact if it would make things easier for her. I said I needed to think, and not much more was exchanged. I wished her well before saying goodbye, forever. I collapsed onto my bed, nearly in a daze, and later moved to the sofa to cry with my mother. I later texted her, expressing confusion over how everything had turned so sudden. I reassured her that I didn't mind not engaging in those activities and that I appreciated all her qualities, the good and the bad, and thanked her for being herself and for the kindness of her parents. The next day, she responded with the same sentiments as during the call, stating she had meditated on it and made the decision, confirming there would be no going back and that it was not easy for her. She indicated that she should have established clearer boundaries, though she hadn't set any at all initially. Everything had relied on me asking first. Additionally, she mentioned that she was uncomfortable with what I had said about the bad. I mean, nobody is perfect, that is just a fact. I felt a whirlwind of emotion, sadness, anger, and so many others. I left a final message, one I regret, in which I told her it must have been easy for her since she had repeatedly claimed she did not want to share her feelings and implied that she might not have had any feelings for me. I sincerely regret that. Anger overwhelmed me. She read my message but never replied. There has been no contact since then. She removed me from Discord group chats and unfriended me in a game. A week later, I had to take action myself, deleting her contact from all platforms. I no longer even have her phone number. Yet after roughly 6 or 7 weeks, it was February 11, I am fine truly. I love myself, have regained my confidence, smile, and cherish my family. However, throughout some days, thoughts about everything linger in my mind, not with sadness but as a learning experience. Occasionally, I wonder if there was a way to save it if it was my fault and I feel guilt. I want to know what you think about all this. I sincerely apologize for the lengthy post. I felt the need to express so much. I have never confided in anyone about this. I only discussed some aspects with my mother. I don't want to share all of this with my one true friend with whom I talk daily, as he has never had a relationship either. It would feel strange. Thank you again for your understanding. As I mentioned, I am considering this a learning experience nonetheless. Regarding seeking her permission, those moments I described were the only instances in which I asked for her consent concerning intimate actions. I have nothing to gain from being dishonest here. Summary: my girlfriend ended our relationship unilaterally after crossing a boundary that was never established, despite her having acted ambiguously about it, and she never gave me a second chance. Story 2. My boyfriend joked with coworkers that I'm not exactly a super genius, while I anxiously awaited my university acceptance. I've battled insecurities since childhood, feeling dumb compared to my brilliant mom. Should I confront him about how much it hurt? We met when I was 20 years old, and we will have been together 3 years in August. My boyfriend was out with his coworkers tonight when he called me. They were enjoying food and drinks together while discussing university applications and related topics. I am about to find out if I was accepted. I applied to the radiology nursing program, and upon checking the admission points for that specific course, I found that I am just a few points above average according to the Swedish system. Anyway, my boyfriend told me he was discussing this with a coworker and mentioned how it can be challenging to get accepted when he referred to me, saying, "She is not exactly a super genius." This was in reference to my chances of being accepted, even though I do not consider myself particularly intelligent. I do not recall everything he said, but that comment stuck with me and made me feel sad. His coworker even defended me. I did not tell him it upset me, and we soon ended the call because his coworkers were heading somewhere else. Another incident occurred about 1 or 2 weeks ago when my boyfriend, my mother, and I went shopping for flowers. I spotted a flower species called narcissus and explained to him that Narcissus from Greek mythology was transformed into a flower, which may have been the origin of its name. He expressed disbelief, so I searched for it online and it turned out I was correct. I showed him the information and he replied by saying he was surprised that I knew that. He then added, "You are so smart," in an affectionate tone, similar to how one might speak to a dog. I have always felt insecure about my intelligence, and I am well aware that I am not the smartest individual. I struggle with mathematics and have a terrible memory. Even I sometimes think I am foolish, but I never expected him to feel that way. A few months ago, I cried to him about feeling stupid and my insecurities regarding my intelligence. He comforted and reassured me, but after our conversation tonight, I cried again because I felt so inadequate. However, I fear that what he said may be true. I have never really had excellent grades. They have mostly been average or even below average, with only a few as in subjects like English. The only thing I truly excel at is drawing. While I was in school, I also dealt with severe depression. Throughout middle school and high school, I was suicidal and barely studied, yet I managed to pass. Everything began to unravel in my final year of high school when the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Everyone was required to participate in classes online, but I failed miserably. I was depressed, started self-harming, the workload became overwhelming, and I lacked any motivation. Ultimately, I only needed to complete a few mandatory classes, which led me to retake my last year of high school and subsequently complete the remaining necessary classes for my high school diploma at an adult school when I turned 20. That is how I met my boyfriend. One of the classes was mathematics, and honestly, I might not have passed if it weren't for my boyfriend's help studying. I just feel so foolish. I recognize that I need to apply myself more when it comes to studying, and now that my depression has significantly reduced, I am genuinely excited about university for the first time. I have promised myself that if I am accepted, I will not fail and that I will put in my best effort. But with my boyfriend seemingly believing I am foolish, it makes me worry that nothing has changed and I might fail again. Perhaps he is right. I have been a stay-at-home girlfriend since we moved into our apartment. I manage cooking, cleaning, laundry, and grocery shopping for us. I also have a strong interest in pink, Sanrio, and feminine fashion. I enjoy shopping and other traditionally feminine activities like hair and nails, which only heightens my feelings of inadequacy. Meanwhile, my mother, who is 52 years old, recently received a promotion at her job. She used to be a biomedical analyst, transitioned to it, and is now traveling to various countries to receive training in order to teach her area of expertise. I compare myself to her, questioning how someone as unintelligent as I am could come from someone as intelligent as she is. I feel as though she must be so disappointed in me. As a child, I unfortunately conformed to the stereotype of not being like other girls, despising pink dresses and anything remotely feminine. This attitude stemmed from the influences around me, both on the internet and at home. My father often made jokes belittling femininity, and in an attempt to gain his approval, I began to reject everything associated with being feminine. I was taught that being a girl signified weakness and foolishness, and if one liked pink or makeup, it meant they were even more unintelligent. This mindset unfortunately lingered for a long time, and I even cut my hair short and wore only baggy clothing. Only in recent years have I been able to express myself in the way I have always desired. I now love all things feminine, but I cannot shake this insecurity I have about my intelligence. When my boyfriend implies things that support this belief, it deeply hurts me. However, I am uncertain if I am overreacting. What should I do? I feel as though I should discuss this with him, but I struggle with communication and am unsure of what to say. How do I approach him about this? To summarize, my boyfriend made a comment that I felt suggested he considers me foolish. I was hurt and I cried. Thank you for taking the time to read this.